Alright, hello again, and welcome to Minecraft. Not doing much today, just getting rid of everything in the library. That is good. I've acquired an orange. Anyhow, I wanted to talk about where did I leave the, it's over here, isn't it? Orange, you glad? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I wanted to talk a bit more about my game. The similarities, the differences. And in particular, the mechanics. I feel like this should... Chance. Better described that way. Having your Minecraft stream in the background while playing Hytale is going to scramble my brain so bad. Oh, good luck with that. Orange. In particular because of Decked Out 3. Some more information has come out in regards to that. Since the last time I streamed Minecraft and brought it up. And Decked Out 3 features a mechanic that is going to be very helpful for my design. So I wanted to get ahead of the curve. Yeah, that feels good. There's supposed to be 4 old things here. There's artifacts of some sort, essentially. This strikes me as a good one. The first... Isn't it the first? The first copper golem that I made? Now oxidized? Anyhow. We are clearing out everything here. Adjustments are being made. Oh, I need my other axe. Anyway, instead of Clank, Tango is using a new mechanic referred to as Omen. And Omen works slightly differently. Where do I keep my Silk Touch axe? Do I have a Silk Touch axe? Don't know if I have a Silk Touch axe. I guess I'm using the pickaxe on it. Anyway. Omen is going to increase over time, and when your fear increments, that's when Omen is going to go up. When your fear reaches max, Omen will increment, I should say, rather. And as you get to higher levels of Omen, more mobs are going to be released into the game. And the mobs are going to be released into the game via a queue system that has been hooked up with minecarts and all sorts of fancy tech. It's very cool watching him put that stuff together. And the whole releasing mobs mechanic is going... The setup that he's created is going to be incredibly useful for me. So I'm going to utilize it, but I wanted to be clear about where it comes from. Both to give credit in its own right, and also so people don't say, oh, this is ripping off Tango Tech's Decked Out 3. Not exactly. Not exactly. I already intended for mobs to be released into my game, which is not something that happened with Decked Out 2. And I came up with this prior to Decked Out 3 being announced, but I did not really have the motivation to work on it until Decked Out 3 was announced. But yeah, I came up with this system prior to that point. But his method of mob delivery is going to be much more effective, so I'm going to utilize that. I mentioned at one point that I had originally intended to use... Oh, that must be the first time that I've had stripped oak in my inventory since shelves. I see. I mentioned at one point that I intended to use trial chambers to that end. I would queue up the idea was I would queue up at a trial chamber and get all of the mobs in the system from that, and get all of the mobs in the system from the trial chamber. And then plug them into the game from there. But it just didn't work, because the trial chamber mobs were severely limited in the amount that can spawn at once. Which is unfortunate. But my workaround with that was, eventually, figuring out how I could utilize every possible instance of... every other possible method through which I could spawn mobs infinitely. Whoop, ouch. Actual spawner blocks, for which I'm going to need to find the dungeons, which is going to be fun. Slimes and silverfish from the different potions that have been added. So I've come up with alternative methods. But his queuing system, which effectively just has them sitting in minecarts all on top of each other, it both looks ridiculous and it will be incredibly effective in terms of queuing up mobs the way I need them to be. You'd be great at designing theme parks? I actually did plan a theme park in Minecraft for a server I was playing on. I just never got around to finishing it. Anyhow. You might be wondering, Smuck, why are you taking all of the hard work that you've put into this library and tearing it out? And that's because I have a new design for it. A new exciting design. And it won't be just a library anymore. It will be a reference library. I'm planning to make it... Ow. I'm planning to make it in such a way so that I can pick a set of items that I want to pull out of deep storage and then be transported to where those items are being kept. So I can pop them in. How many bookshelves were actually in this? Or were there? Anyway, it should take me directly to where the items in question are being kept via minecart. So that should be fun. I would like to have this ready for when the minecart tweaks hopefully make it to the full game, because this world was not made when the minecart tweaks were a thing yet, so they aren't on. In fact, I think options... No. Resource packs. Yeah. They would show there if they were in, I think. But yeah, this world was not made when the minecart adjustments were available. So I'm stuck with regular old minecarts, and I hope that I will be able to fully convert over with whatever mechanics are included in however that's implemented. Anyway, this will just be the top, and then there will be lots more below this. This will house the interface for both adding items to the deep storage. Oh, I got rid of my water bucket. Ow. Didn't make it. The interface for adding items to deep storage and for taking them out of deep storage via a little minecart ride. That's the plan, at any rate. Well, this is going faster than I thought it would, honestly. Need to get this out of here too, I think. I want to get a good feel for the space, because I have yet to decide whether the new design faces that way or that way. I could tweak it to be in either direction. I think it's going to face this way so that I can accommodate for that. Like the old design failed to do. Not enough room? Yeah, Not nearly enough room. Yeah, I'm shocked at how few bookshelves were actually in here. Actually, let's put that there. Yeah, it lines up nicely with the two doors as well. Gonna have to figure out what to do for this wall because it doesn't fit quite so neatly into the plan, since I wasn't sure which direction it was going to face. But I think it'll be okay. It'd be nice if we had a Haste 2 beacon here. I need to sort that out. Anyway, once we're done tearing this out, I will probably move on to the other big excavation project I've been doing, which is for the frozen fissure. I could have called it the frigid fissure, but frozen fissure works better in regards to puns because it's going to feature some solid iron golems. I thought you meant like a museum archiving your adventures. Lol. The archive is gonna be strictly for items, but for the objects in there, that is meant to be more of an aesthetic thing than anything else, really. Anyway, I have plans for this. I will get around to finalizing, and then we can build the new version. Did we hear a zombie just now? I think I heard a zombie just now. Actually, before we move on, it would be a good idea to fill in some more farms into the farm hall. I'll show you what that is, and it'll be pretty obvious what the point of it is meant to be when I get around to that. My gosh, I shot out of the crafting menu because I thought a zombie was behind me. Yeah, that, oh. Muscle memory, huh? Do they have zombies that are comparable at all in Hytale? To the Minecraft ones, I mean? But yeah, it's clear enough that it's skeletons are the closest. Haven't seen any zombies at all so far. There are going to be... Oh, hold on. to do. There are going to be large staircases going up both sides, so they might have to continue up and around the other way, too. A little wider. Yeah. That might work. Okay. Let's take this and pop it somewhere else. In there. Why? Yeah, I don't really have a great place for it. Why was there one there? I have one already. And I definitely heard footsteps a second ago. Oh, it was you. That's with the looting. It's a shame. Don't have a... If only it was that effective. Not worth it to do so in the Heartflower Hunt world. Uh-oh, shoving junk in random chests. That whole thing is getting torn out at some point. And you know what? I might as well do it now. Let's see. This. These are the materials that are going into the library. So let's replace these. Nope, didn't mean to do that, but okay. The stone. Actually, I'm going to be removing some of the coal ore that's down there. So let's strip out log. Oh yes, hello, Cave River. I'm out of string here. I need to do something about that. Anyway, the reference library will be 2 parts. The top and the bottom being deep storage. And the top being the control nexus, so to speak. Back to the ideas behind the roguelike that I'm working on. The point to having mobs get spawned beforehand and then drop in, which is contrary to what will be contrary to what will be happening with the retooled trial chamber, is that I will have better control over the amount and so forth. But I can also do fun things like give them potion effects if I want. I'll just... there. might end up digging into that at some point anyway. I have no idea what to put here instead. See, it's not random. I had other like items there. It's because they happened to be here next to the nether portal. Anyway. But that's also how I'm going to be getting the slimes and the silverfish in. I can lower a mob's health down to the point where they would die, give them the spawn slimes on death potion, and then drop them. No good. More company. I was about to say friends, but you are not friends. Not a friend. I'll just shove those in there, I guess. Anyhow, each room would have a set amount of enemies, and certain aspects of that would be randomized from run to run, but also more control would be available for which side is randomly chosen, whether you go to Area A or Area B first in order. Because if you were here for that stream, you will recall that it is randomized whether you go to Area A or Area B first. You could go A, B, or B, A. And the one that ends up being later in line, later in sequence, I can introduce more mobs to each room for that. More difficult mobs as well. Don't mind me. Anyhow. His system will just be so much more convenient than what I originally had in mind. So I will be going with that. I expanded this area slightly. Wow. Someone thinks he's a pop shop. Yeah, that's right. Walk away and then walk closer. None of these are full yet. Is that one? Does that one count? No. You'll have to walk closer if you want to attack me. Yeah. Right. I'm using just this area to store the powdered snow that forms. And then I have made a great big ice collection point over there. from which I can get all 3 variants of ice. Slowly, in some cases. Oh, hang on. This was supposed to be with the rest. I must have set them aside while I was expanding. There we go. Ooh. Anyhow, I wanted to get ahead of the curve, so to speak. Oh, I left the rest of the moss back at the home. Drat. I'm using moss as scaffolding, essentially, so that I can get around a little faster without having to hop my way over half-excavated rooms. Oh, and the rest of my wool, too. That's fine, market labor. I do still need to experiment on this, double check what all they do when they are turned ominous. That will potentially play a role in what happens to them. In the grand scheme of things. Anyway, the point of the trial chamber, the time trial chamber, will be to find the best route and push yourself to your limits, getting better at beating all of the mobs on that path. This is, I think, just around the outside of the range, so the paste is going to be wearing off, so I should head back. Let's get this out of my way. Whereas the roguelike is going to be similar, but different. Instead of having to push yourself to find the best route for a single unchanging set of rooms, you're going to have to push yourself to figure out routing on the fly as you are working out what possible arrangement of rooms you could have been given by the randomizer. And on top of that, you're going to have to deal with the random items that you're given. You'll have to make decisions about whether you want to go looting unnecessary rooms in order to raise your power for later challenges. You could get lucky and find yourself some clocks early on, and that would give you the opportunity to loot some more. So you might be able to get more powerful that way. Or you could have to go searching for clocks out of desperation if you're on the verge of running out of time. And it's going to be very difficult to balance that, but I think I'll be able to work it out. It's going to be a big project, though. The clocks are going to be the method through which you increase your limited time frame. They are a loot item that you will have the opportunity to get. That you can toss into a receptacle in the right location, and they will automatically increase the available time that is left for you. So you have to find a clock, and then you go to the shop to cash it in, effectively. Nope, I missed the sponge. But yeah, the premise is you are having a nightmare, and you have to defeat the nightmare before your alarm clock goes off, so you can actually get any amount of restful sleep in. I'm going to have you spawn into the game after you sleep in a bed. Although, I mean, you will be able to start the game tonight. No, you sleep in a bed. No, hang on. I'm trying to remember how I designed this. You sleep in a bed, then if you die in the run, that's what makes you fall into the you died chute, and that's how the game determines whether or not you have died in the game. Right. Decked Out 2 relied on the player to push a button after they had died to tell it to start to reset, and this is my improvement on that. But also the idea is you woke up from your bed and oh no, you didn't get any sleep. You lost. Failure condition. And then if you win, then you will be able to set your spawn somewhere else, probably, and then obviously you don't have to deal with that. I want there to be a boss at the end, too. I'm still figuring out how I would do that, but one of the bosses, the original boss, I should say, is the King of Nightmares. I might have to adjust that. I'm thinking it might be a wave-based thing where you have to accomplish goals while waves of monsters are getting sent at you, but that would require a lot of monsters. A lot of monsters. So, I'll have to work that out. There aren't going to be bosses for the trial chamber because there would not be much of a point to that, because I would have to make a custom boss on top of the trial spawners doing their thing. And the point is, it's an upgraded trial chamber, not a trial chamber with a whole bunch of doodads added onto it, essentially, that weren't there in at least some aspect before. Out. I failed the jump. I failed to jump, actually. fastest way to get up on it. Oh my. Ba-da-ba-da-ba. I left the moss behind. I think there's some more here, but it would... It's a shame that I've inconvenienced myself this way. Am I crazy, or was there not at one point a time where you could do this, but with the contents of a bundle? Take it, and then drag out the contents. I feel like there was a point at which that happened. There's still a lot left here. It's a big hullabaloo to get this whole thing out. Why do I not go through this way? Is it because the haste is running out? Yeah, it is. I need to move the beacon closer to this direction. Get all the top off. I need to move it that way. I need to... I think I need to move it over that way as well. It's a big L shape, which is interesting. But also there are a bunch of places where there's rooms stacked on top of each other, essentially. And I find myself wondering what I can do with that, outside of just making the tall rooms stay tall rooms. No, there's got to be a better way. Another interesting thing that I could do. But once I have excavated the whole area, I think I'm going to copy the world over from a save. And in creative, just sort of mess around with a general layout. Until I'm happy with sort of what I want, and then I will make the bare bones structure, and then I will decorate around that. Part of the layout is also going to be large points of interest, though, too, so I have to keep that in mind. Unlike a trial chamber where everything is sort of samey from room to room. Obviously, the rooms have their own differences, but the theming of the room is all basically the same across the board. You're not going to find a room that isn't copper and tough. Although, speaking of which... Yeah. I need to grab... orange wool. I have lime wool. All of the orange wool is at home. Arrgh. Well, let's just drop this off, and then I will... Oh, the ladders are gonna go in there. You definitely don't. Let's send you back through. Used golem. Anyway. Let's put in one of the sheep farms, I think. For orange. For this. Because I'm using so much orange wool. Eventually it will get recycled and I will go back to my storage, but for now I need some more. I did finally put in Creepy. And I'll get to show it off when we arrive, too. So, this long hallway. I probably mentioned at some point that I want to put farms along here. I've now segmented it out into portions of 3. So the idea is we have 1 farm for sugarcane, several farms for sheep, I didn't build this in the right place. It was supposed to be earlier. Hang on. Sugar, sheep, sheep, sheep. Sheep, sheep, sheep. No, hang on. Well, I'll figure it out. I might need to move this in order for the hallway to make sense. I had a layout in mind. Oh yeah, anyway, it's nighttime, so you hit them, it's no longer nighttime. I managed to miss my window by just a tiny amount. But yeah, I had a planned layout for this hallway based on what felt like it made sense to me. And no, it's nighttime enough. Am I not getting resin? That's strange. Something brick. Somebody stole my block. Must have been an Enderman. Or, wait. No, I must have removed it. Hold on. Why did I move it? Doing a lot of testing. Oh, hang on. Must have been testing something and forgotten to put it back. Well, I'm gonna have to move them anyway, so pick up. Of course, now it's not gonna be making any resin. This is daytime, but each room in the roguelike is going to tell when you have defeated all of the mobs, because unlike the trial spawners, I won't have a way to determine when you killed all of the mobs in a room automatically. It will determine when you have defeated all of the mobs inside based off of a task you can only do when there are no mobs in the room. I'm going to have you stand still for a time on a pressure plate. And while you're on the pressure plate, there has to be no footstep noises happening around you, or it will not proceed. The goal will not progress. I guess we're not putting a farm in there because I have to figure out why I put the creaking farm in the wrong place. I think I dug a hole from above, but I must have used the wrong coordinates. And then I just ran with it after that and without checking. Drat. So each room you'll enter, it will detect that you have entered. Probably through pressure plates. The exits will close off. It will send the mobs in after you. And then, in order to open the doors again, you have to allow this goal to finish while there is no movement around you. And in order for that to happen, all of the mobs are going to have to be dead. Even if you managed to get on the pressure plate while one was right next to you, it would be hitting you, and then that also would reset the system. I was originally thinking about having a bonus that could happen if you cleared a room without getting hit. It's also detected through shulkers, but that is not viable. Can't detect that without also detecting something else, unfortunately. Or can't detect that at all? I can't remember. It might not be something that is detectable. The oranges is slow. Goodness. Maybe a lack of grass in their pen. No, there's plenty of grass for them to eat. Not really any difference there in regards to any other pen, although, notably, the ones on the end, the grass should recover slightly faster since they aren't penned in by sheep on both sides that are eating their grass. In theory. Anyway. Once you've completed the goal, the doors will open. It'll drop a reward. And then the rewards can be various things. Some of them will be standard loot type items. Some of them will be specific to the area type loot items. Such as, for example, I believe I revealed the name associated with a pink shulker box. It could give you a slowness splash potion, which you could then use on enemies, for example. I could get even crazier with it if I used creative, but I want to show that this can be done in survival. Without commands. I really need to clear out some of these charged creepers. Why are you not putting it in here? Turn this off. Yeah, it's just not going. I think I must have gotten sick of it. That's fine. I can harvest them anyway. Need to make a better bamboo farm, too. With which to convert this. Ah, over by the cow pen, of course. Let's plant some more. Yeah, grow. This was originally a tree farm, which is why it's got the lid on it. But it is suitable as a bamboo farm. I need to make a better one. Oh! No. Anyway. I think that'll be it for tonight. I'll have a chill, laid-back one. After each... Oh, I didn't finish. After each room, well, no. After some of the rooms, you will have the opportunity to go down and enter a shop. And then the shop will have... There will be currency that you can use with your... that you can loot from some rooms to get things from the shop. The shop will have a way to turn in your clocks so that you can increase your time limit. There will be some other assorted things that are available in the shop. For example, I'm thinking some of the things you can use in the shop are just outright a way to buy things, but then you can also gamble, get loot boxes, essentially. Just because that adds another element of randomness. Anyhow. Yeah. And then you progress through the game like that on a... I'd say a relatively strict time limit. Each clock should give you maybe another 5 minutes. I'm thinking it depends on how long I end up timing it up to be as a first run. We'll see. We'll see. The time limit will be... I'll have to put in the structure for the time limit first, but it will not be a factor in the first few runs that I do, just so that I can get a feel for how much time it should take, in theory. But that's a long way off. We've got the time trial chambers to finish first. And I'm making some decent headway on that. So, next time I do a Minecraft stream, it'll probably be with all of that whole area cleared out, and then I'll be in creative, and we'll be working on the structure of the place. Oh, and I'll need to work out what the things do when they're ominous, but I suppose I can do that in the creative world. That shouldn't be too much of an issue. It'll be more convenient to do it there. Excuse me. So yeah, that'll be it for tonight. See you next time. Thanks for joining me. Thank you. Thank you. It was great having you here.